¿cómo están? Yo estoy muy feliz de estar aquí con ustedes hoy. Vamos a tener otra lección sobre la gramática. Hoy vamos a aprender el verbo haber y cómo se usa en español. Hi guys, I'm so excited to be here with you once again to have a grammar lesson. Today we're going to talk about the verb haber and the way that it's used to talk about the existence of objects in Spanish. It does exist in English, but it's one of those verbs that we use in a variety of different ways. So let's take a look at how you use the verb haber en español. Enjoy! Haber, communicating the existence of objects in Spanish. Español en línea con Señora Corona. Today we're going to be talking about the verb haber and how you use this verb to communicate the fact that objects exist in Spanish. And this lesson is going to compare and contrast two of the verbs that we already know to give you a more thorough understanding of how to use the word is or are in Español. So let's get started. So, haber is a verb that is very complex. It's used in a lot of different ways in Spanish. It can be combined with other words to form compound phrases. The most common uses are using haber to talk about the existence of an object, using haber to talk about having done something, like in the past tense, and also to talk about having to do something, sort of not like a command, but like I have to do my chores or I have to go somewhere, something like that. Today we are going to be talking about the word I. This word is the irregular third person conjugation in the present tense. So haber has been conjugated to form the verb I. And one of the things about this word that can make it difficult for native English speakers is that it looks like an English word. So my native speakers of English, when they see this word, they're going to think of the word hey, okay? And that is not what we're saying. We are saying I, okay? So when we see this word, we are not going to say hey, we are going to say I. So when you see the word I want you to say I. I don't want you to say hey, I want you to say I. Now, I is specifically used to talk about the existence of objects. It means, in English, there is or there are. So it is both singular and plural. And I always goes before a noun. So you're not going to use it with adjectives. You're not going to use it with adverbs. You're only going to use it with nouns because we're talking about the existence of specific objects in this particular case. It can be used in other ways, but this is what we're talking about today. All right, so let's take a look at some examples, los ejemplos, of the use of I in both singular and plural forms. So our first example is singular. Hay una casa de 2 pisos en mi calle. Hay una casa, there's a house, de 2 pisos, with 2 stories, en mi calle, on my street. Here's a plural example. Hay 3 casas blancas en mi calle. Hay 3 casas, there are 3 houses, blancas, white, en mi calle, on my street. And one more plural example. Hay 23 casas en mi barrio. Hay 23 casas, there are 23 houses, en mi barrio, in my neighborhood. Okay, so the word I, regardless of whether it's being used to talk about the existence of a single object, a few objects, or a lot of objects, it never changes. It can be used both in the singular form and in the plural form. Okay, so I know a lot of you are giving me this look right now because you were under the impression that the word es means is and the word son means are. And you're right. Es is used to describe things, okay? Es can mean it is, él es means he is, and then ella es means she is. So those are used to describe single objects or single people. The word son does mean are. Ellos son, they are. Ustedes son, y'all are. And if son is just by itself, it means they are, but it's talking about multiple objects. Okay? So, es es and son do mean is and are. I means there is and there are. Again, talking about the existence of an object. So I have some Spanish students who just want to go into Google Translate and they just want to look up the word there and they want to put it in front of S and they want to put it in front of, or they want to put it in front of are. So you would have there is or there are. And unfortunately, it's just not that easy. And while I do believe that Google Translate is a fantastic tool, it is not your friend when you're learning grammar, because if you don't understand how words are used and why they're used that way, then you really can't use grammar effectively. So please, under no circumstances whatsoever, should you go into Google Translate and look for the word there, allí, allá, ahí, para allá, none of that. Do not put that in front of es or son, because you are going to get a sentence that says over there, it is a chair. And that doesn't make any sense. So unless you want other people giving you this look when you're speaking to them, I really wouldn't recommend doing that. All right, so I want to show you guys some comparison between the words I, es, and son in some various sentences. Okay, so let's take a look at a sentence with the word I. Hay dos sillas en la sala. Okay, so here we're talking about the existence of the chairs. The chairs are in the living room. A sentence with es. Una silla es blanca y la otra silla es negra. So we're describing each chair. We're describing the color of one chair and we're describing the color of the other chair. Son. Las sillas son muy cómodas. Okay, so we're describing both chairs here. Okay, so I is talking about the chairs, saying that the chairs exist. Es is talking about the color of one chair, it's singular. And then son is talking about the comfortableness of both chairs. So that's plural. Another example. Hay una mesita en la sala. Okay, so here we have the existence of the coffee table. La mesita es baja y de madera. So here we're describing the table. So the table is short, like it's low to the ground, and it's made out of wood. Las mesitas son útiles y bonitas. So here we're talking about all tables in general. Like coffee tables in general are useful and pretty. All right, so let's do a little bit of practice in deciding when to use I, when to use es, and when to use son. The sentence that we're trying to form is there is a table in the dining room, okay? So are we going to use I, are we going to use es, or are we going to use son in the sentence? The first thing that we have to do is we have to take a look at our English sentence and we have to decide what we're doing. Are we describing or are we talking about the existence of an object? In this case, we're talking about the existence of an object, okay? So which of those three talks about existence? Does I talk about existence? Yes, it does. Okay, but let's go ahead and review the other ones just in case. So does es talk about existence? No. Es talks about description, okay? So es is not an option for this sentence. Does son talk about the existence of an object? No. Son, again, talks about description, so it's not an option for this sentence. So the correct word to put in the blank in the sentence is hay. Hay una mesa en el comedor. All right, so here we have another sentence. The table is big. La mesa blank grande. Okay? So the purpose of this sentence is what? Are we talking about the existence of the table or are we talking about the description of the table? We're talking about the description of the table. Okay? Big is a describing word. First, we're going to look at our words and decide which one is used for description. Is I used for description? No, it's not. So that's not an option. Is es used for description? Yes, it is. Is son used for description? Yes, it is. Okay, so now we've narrowed it down from 3 to 2, and we have to consider one more thing before we can decide which verb to use. Is the thing that we're describing singular or plural? How many tables do we have? We just have one. So let's take a look at our verbs again. Is es singular? Yes, it is. Is son singular? No, it's not. Son is not an option. Therefore, the word that we need to put in our sentence is es. La mesa es grande. All right. Blank cuatro sillas también. So we're trying to form a sentence that says there are 4 chairs also in the dining room. There are also 4 chairs in the dining room. Okay? So, is this sentence talking about the existence of an object, or is this sentence describing the chairs? We're talking about the existence. So which of the verbs talks about existence? I? Yes. Es? No. Son? No. So once again, we've established that es and son are not acceptable for talking about the existence of an object. Therefore, this sentence should be, hay 4 sillas también. Las sillas blank muy cómodas. The chairs are really comfortable. Are we trying to talk about the existence of the chairs, or are we describing the chairs? We're describing the chairs. Cómodo or cómoda is a describing word. It's also a noun, but in this case, we're talking about the chairs being comfortable. We're not saying the chairs are dressers. Okay, so which of our verbs is used for describing? I? No. So I is not an option for this sentence. Is es used for describing? Yes. Is son used for describing? Yes. Okay, so now we have to go back. Are we talking about one chair or more than one chair? Las sillas is plural, okay? So go back to your verbs and decide. Is es plural? No. Es is not plural, therefore it is not an option here, okay? Is son plural? Yes. So now we've narrowed it down. The option for this sentence that best fits is son, because it's describing and it's plural. Las sillas son muy cómodas. The chairs are really comfortable. All right, last one. No blank una ventana en el comedor. We're trying to talk about the fact that there's not a window in the dining room, okay? So are we talking about the existence of a window, or are we talking about describing the window itself? We're talking about the existence of the window. We're not saying the window is big. We're not saying the window is dirty, okay? And we're not describing the dining room. We're talking about the existence of the window, okay? So which of our verbs talks about existence? I? Yes. But just to double check, does es talk about existence? No, it does not. So it's not an option here. Does son talk about existence? No, it does not. Son is for describing plural objects. Therefore, I is the best choice for this sentence. No hay una ventana en el comedor. I really hope that this lesson has helped you guys understand how to use the word I to talk about the existence of single objects or multiple objects. Have a great day. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you guys next time.